What's up, folks? Back with another reaction, back with some more punk rock, and back with another tune from arguably my favorite band of all time, the Canadian band from Manitoba, Propagandhi. I'm not going to spend too much time talking about it, because I've talked about it in several videos, including on this channel already, which is to say, you know, up until last week I had another channel with a lot of reaction videos of different kinds, including multiple reactions to Propagandhi songs. But in those videos I just talked about how they were the first punk rock band that I sort of discovered. I was born in '80, and so like late '93 I went to a hockey camp in Canada. There was a kid there from Montreal, didn't speak any English, but he was a punk rocker, and he had the cassette tape of How to Clean Everything, and we listened to it in the locker room, like while we were getting ready, like for ice time every day, and it really made an impression on me. So I went back to California. It took me a while to get it, but by the end of '94, I think I did get it. And so by the time I was in like junior high, I was already listening to Propagandhi, and it changed my life. It quite literally changed my life. And soon I was reading sort of material that, you know, and certainly in their next album where there was just a whole reading list of stuff to go through. And, you know, through them, I eventually discovered other bands like Dead Kennedys and so on. And so like, it was a pivotal moment for me, and they are a pivotal band for me, and I will always be big fans of Chris Hanna and co. Nevertheless, we're going to listen to a tune that they did called Supporting Caste. And look, I'm a historian, got my master's from Cal State Fullerton. I have lectured a little bit. I do more like freelance research and editing and things like that, but I am a historian. Did my thesis on the Muskogee peoples and the 3 or 4 decades following the end of what is often called the Revolutionary War, or the American War of Independence, and of course, in many ways, that label is ironic or at least hypocritical. Regardless, I'm not going to get into too much of that. All I will say is that I did a lot of research on the Muskogee peoples, and so like, you know, as someone who grew up in the States in the 80s and so on, you learn things in public school, and, you know, it just seems like as you get older and you learn more and more, there's just so many wrinkles and so many layers, and indeed so many communities that are sort of stricken from historical narratives that are, you know, given to people in, again, schools, public and private. And again, I get it, like there's all sorts of considerations that go into that, but I do very much identify with some of the lyrics in this song about how, like, you know, the mainstream history, the history that is taught to kids in schools in different countries and whatever, it sort of validates the pornography of force. It validates some of the worst humans and some of the worst things that we do. And people who, you know, are often like victims and oppressed and marginalized and so on, you know, if they show up at all, it's just in the background, or, you know, oftentimes they're just stricken from the narrative wholesale, which is a line from the song. So as a historian, this song especially resonates with me, and it speaks to professional research that I've done, like when, you know, doing my MA thesis, and, you know, also research that I've done since graduating, because again, I do focus on like indigenous American communities in like the late 18th and early 19th centuries. You have to be like hyper specific when you get a graduate degree in history. It's like, you know, you're going to study this like period, like, you know, it's like, no, you got to like this group of people in this socioeconomic context during this particular timeline, so on. But yeah, regardless, that's why I'm a big fan of this song in particular, and not only, you know, just in general. Propagandhi will always be my favorite band. So there we go. This is Supporting Caste from the titular or eponymous album. Let me look up the year. Redlining. Fucking really hard sound, man. But like with all Propagandhi going way back to the beginning, the guitar work by Chris is just fucking unbelievable. Resurrection of Messianic Prince of Song. Just challenge me. gets enough credit for that. On behalf of a supporting cast. Because history absolves. Cause there's no results. Only the pornography of force. Murderers and psychopaths. The resurrection course. Stricken from their narrow wholesale. The background to their tale. The guitar work. I like the tension in his voice at the end of that line. No breaking of legs. No recurring role. No artistic control. The maturity of their sound. Look, I've heard Chris talk about it. It's like, I love, like where we started, but we're never gonna make a record again like How to Clean Everything. I respect that. I do love that album, but again, it's true. It's like you can hear the sort of the complexity and the maturity of the sound from this compared to How to Clean Everything. You can hear it. And I mentioned it in another reaction. Once Todd joined the group, I feel like they got more of like a metal, kind of like harder edge melodic sound. Shout out to Todd, big fan of him too. And Suleiman, I saw them in concert at the House of Blues a couple years ago. She's dope. She did the shout part in Back to the Motor League, and it was like, yo, let's go. Listen to that guitar, man. Neither one. Oh, come on. It's a fucking masterpiece. It's one of their best songs. Perfect sense to me that was like that's the title song of this album. That's the one. Like I said, I love the lyrics, I love the music. I do love both of the sections where like the verse ends and then it like you get a vocalization, whether it's like the oof in the second part or whatever, and then it drops into that hard rhythm again. I love that. So sonically and lyrically, I just think it's a masterpiece. I love that intro as well. I love the sort of dramatic and like almost like psychedelic, a little bit interlude before that last part. It's just a masterpiece. It's there's really nothing not positive to say about it. So let me know if you're a big fan as well. Let me know if there's another track on that album that you're a big fan of. Like I said, I have every single Propagandhi album. I'd love to hear a request like, oh hey, would you mind listen to this tune or that tune? As I said, my old channel, most of what I had done is a lot of acid techno and techno. That's still going to be probably the majority feature on the channel, but I am getting more into doing these punk rock and hip hop and reggae and classical and like other reactions because I have very wide and diverse musical taste. I've been collecting vinyl and CDs and even cassette tapes, going way back to when I was a kid, and certainly since I was a teenager and then in my early 20s. So I have a whole bunch of great music in physical media form. So Like I said, if you have a Propagandhi song you'd really like to hear, shout it out, let me know. Please do comment on anything that I've said, if I'm getting some of the information wrong or like whatever. Like I said, some of these things I'm recalling from memory, like that interview that I read with Chris. That was years ago when I read that, so I might not have been quoting him exactly right. If not, I do apologize, sir. But yeah, like I said, just arguably my favorite band and will always be so, because not only is their music great, not only have they evolved their sound, not only are they so lyrically impressive, but it's just nostalgic for me because it was life-changing when I discovered them as a 13-year-old. So shout out to them once again. I hope you enjoyed. Have a good day. Have a good night. I'll see you next time. Peace.